Share the live, folks. Smash that emoji button for us. Welcome in the ring to each and every one of you. Wherever you're joining us from tonight, share the live. We are happy to have each and every one of you here with us, good folks, and wherever you all are joining us from, share the damn live. Smash, smash that emoji button, folks. We could not ask for a better audience than the one we have in you, the thousands of you who watch us each and every day. We're so privileged. Folks, it's nothing short of an honor doing this program, knowing that you wonderful folks enjoy it so much. So, welcome in the ring. Oh, we got a program for you guys tonight, start to finish. We got a program for you tonight. We're going to hear from the man who got through out of the National Tushaus Council Conference quite recently. And we're also going to hear from the General Secretary of the Guyana Teachers Union on that deal that was signed today. And folks, you're going to want to strap yourselves in wherever, as I said, wherever you're joining us from, you are going to want to strap yourselves in, good folks, and buckle in. Yep, it's a lot to get through this evening. So whichever page, whichever profile you all are joining us from, share that live. Erwin, Don, and all you other folks who are joining us, we want as many persons as possible to get the valid and credible information. Let us know, Angela Jordan, if you're hearing us well. Tanogni, good to have you there too. Good to have each and every one of you. Angela, Orwin, Tanogni Leach, Diane, good to have you. Debbie, Vesta, Deborah, Andrew Griffith is on the live, folks. We know how much y'all like valid, credible information, how much you appreciate it, the value attached to it. So when these things happen, we have to talk to the people making the events, making the news behind it, folks. Yep, the people behind it. We want to talk to them. Orvin Don, Dorico Ferguson. I want to talk to the president of the GTU as well. Trying to get him about 2 days ago. I will keep trying, folks. Robin Kendall, we gotta reschedule. You know, Redham Alexis, good to see you. I see the name flash by in a little while. Debbie Collins and Mark and Godfrey Montaigne. Good to have each and every one of you all on the live tonight. Good to have each and every one of you on the live. Good to see you. Had a chance to talk to some teachers today as well. Hear their side. Hear some what they've said. My God, on this new deal. I haven't seen Irfan so happy in a long time. Last time I see some big smiles on Irfan face like that, I think it was his wedding day. I saw the pictures. I haven't seen him smile and so lighthearted in a long time. This new deal, might be a good deal for some people. Some others, Gary Wang, Vanessa, Godfrey, Zoan, Leona, Marcia, Agar, might not be a good deal for all folks, but we got the fight card set. Wherever you're joining us from this evening, it's pace and power. Y'all know how we do it. Ow. Share the like, smash that emoji. A couple other folks can get the valid and credible information. If you know the broadcast, you know where we're going next. We got the open up, folks. It's such a privilege to talk with you guys. It's such a privilege. Do we see Eva here? Eva Mathis, Evelina. It's all the East tonight. Zoan, Edward, and Gemma. It's all the East, I said. Debbie and Donna, Tel Rose, Ingrid and Carlton. Good to have each and every one of you in the live. Going to ring the bell just one time for each and every one of you, and all those wonderful teachers I had the chance of talking to today. Yeah. Good to see each and every one of you on the live tonight, no doubt, folks. But first, as we begin, Member of Parliament Vincent Henry, Indigenous. That's how the man born. Yep, that's how he born. Right. He sits on the Natural Resources Committee in the National Assembly, and the Natural Resource Minister, the one and only Vikram Bharat, he was slated to speak at the Tushow's conference. So Vincent got curious what might he had to say. They don't hold these Natural Resources Committee meetings so often, so when you catch them, you got to take them. He wanted to be among some of his countrymen. You know, he went down there to the National Two Shows Council conference, hoping to get a listen. You know, all the nice things happening in the indigenous community. Well, who tell you to do that? Who told him to do that, folks? That's where we're picking up our broadcast from. That is where we're picking up our broadcast from this evening, folks. That's the opener tonight. Share the live, folks. Like we should hold until we get some more shares. We should hold until a couple more people smash that emoji. But we got over 600 persons who've already joined us. 5 minutes into our broadcast. Folks, it's only because we like y'all, you know. Because those who have come early, we don't want to keep waiting. We're going to push ahead. Vincent Henry, folks, member of parliament, my indigenous brother from another mother. Could have been from my father because we got some indigenous blood in myself too, folks. Take a look. Take a listen to what he told me today. But I didn't see that.
The last two shows elections that were held, March, April, May, we saw the People's Progressive Party making all efforts, all, to ensure that the persons they wanted to become two shows were elected. So they campaigned rigorously. They spent a lot of resources, financially and otherwise, to get their people into the Tushaw's positions in their communities. But unfortunately for them, in many instances, the people spoke otherwise, and many of their candidates that they had put forward were not elected to Tushaw's position. And that is because the indigenous people are always differentiate between what we will call general and regional elections and their two shout elections. They do not want to have that mixed up because of it will be end up with a case where you have political parties, fighting for position in the community in terms of having a two shout position, and that does not augur well for the indigenous population and our future. Um, then it is a case where the People's Progressive Party also knows very well, and I think all Guyanese would know that at every election, the results were pretty close, and as such, the indigenous population is being seen as the balance of power, who could bring in one or two seats, maybe three seats, and that could, put a government into being there for the next 5 years. And as such, the PPP will want to have total control of the whole process leading towards the elections and also over the lives of the indigenous people. So yesterday when I went to the NTC, I went there because of several reasons. One, I am a member of parliament. Two, I normally represent the people of the hinterland, including the indigenous people. I am indigenous. Then also, the Amerindian Act distinctly says that Amerindians are welcome to attend those meetings. Of course, there is the fact that the Arthur Chung Conference Center is not very big and to take in a lot of people, but I'm also I'm also a member of the Parliamentary Sectoral Natural Resources Committee. And so in the afternoon, the minister was making his presentation on natural resources. So I normally sit at those meetings and I would raise issues, I would raise proposals, and all for the betterment of my hinterland, my indigenous people. And as such, I felt that it would be very correct for me to go there and know what is happening, the situation on the ground in the various communities right across the country, and be able to make further representations on their behalf in the future, of course. And so I went there and I registered at the front desk, and I was given a tag. I signed my name, and I was told where to go and sit, and I went up and I didn't look around to see who were there with, I just walked to the place where I was told to go and I sat. And when I looked around, I was in the company of ministers of the current government who all who, who looked at me with surprise, what am I doing there? Well, I said, well, I'm here to represent my people. I was even asked if if I was there to make trouble. I said no. Representation cannot be trouble.
Good
And
trouble, if anything.
yeah, so eventually I sat there and I heard the minister's presentation. Pretty good presentation, I must say that. And then it was getting into question time. And once the questions began, someone came and told me that I was wanted outside. A friend is waiting for me outside. In fact, another MP with an urgent matter, and I should go and meet with him. I immediately suspected that they were trying to get me out of the Artichoke Conference Center. So
Even by deceit.
so I text the MP, what is the problem? He text me, what's the problem? He never responded till 2 days. Yes, not today, last night he responded. He wasn't around there. So I knew something was wrong. And then afterwards, a worker came, one of the assistants came and told me that I am an imposter and I shouldn't be there. So I took out my ID card, my MP's ID card, and I showed them. I said, I don't want to see that. I am there impersonating somebody and things like that. So I said, well, I'm not moving because I am who I am.
An imposter as a member of parliament, an indigenous member of parliament at a national two-shows conference. Wow.
Yes. And then they said, well, okay, you'll have to move. But in the meantime, the proceedings were getting what Guyanese would term hot because the minister mentioned how there were certain communities that he would like to meet with afterwards. He would want to meet with them because they have problems. I think about 6 or so communities. And when he said that, a number of other villages said, no, we have problems too. There's a plethora of communities, one after the other. And you could have seen visibly that some of them were embarrassed. Not the people, the authorities were embarrassed when that began. So I knew that, hey, they're going to come for me to get me out of it, out of this place here.
Could you tell us some of those issues that were being raised?
Well, one community, I can't remember exactly, but I could give you a clipping of it. One community mentioned that they had applied for extension to their land and that they were expecting it to come true. But when they got information of what has happened here, they were very worried because there were a lot of mining concessions already granted on the land that they had applied for. And they didn't want to be in a situation like what's happening in Chinese landing and other places. And they felt that they need to correct that almost immediately because they would end up in lifelong problems afterwards. And as such, others began to talk. And they stopped it and said, okay, they will put them in groups, etc., etc. When that was happening, they were trying to get me out because it was getting hotter. And then eventually the Chinese landing issue came up and the representative spoke very well. In fact, all the two showers who spoke there, they spoke very well. They were eloquent and they were onto the real, points that they had to make. I was very happy to be hearing them. And I was mentioning the Chinese landing leader spoke, and it was a sad case of what was happening with the people who really own these resources there and not being able to utilize it just to get a livelihood, their daily meals, etc. So it was sad.
And you said, well, all that was happening, they're trying to get you out.
Yes.
What does that mean? They had different members of staff come maybe and try to encourage you to...
They tried to trick me first. And then they came with saying I'm an imposter. I'm not who I am. And then they stopped after the Chinese landing issue was raised. They stopped the proceedings. I saw them whispering, and I know they were planning something. They stopped it, and then the police came and asked me to leave. And I told the police that if there's a problem, let's discuss it here. He said no, he wanted me outside. Well, the law is a law. We have to obey. Um, I explained to him who I am and thing. He said, "Well, he is not there for that. He has been instructed to get me out of the facility," and that is where I left. But the whole thing, Sharad and Indigenous people, is that I have been elected to represent my constituents, and my constituents are the people of the hinterland. And again, by law, I am an indigenous person. I am of Arawak descent. I even mentioned in Parliament, well, in there, in the Artichoke, a sentence, a greeting in the Arawak language, Halika Jakuba, you know, and you could see I'm visibly an indigenous person. But they didn't want a person like me because of a normally question and raise issues, etc., to be there to hear the problems, the plethora of problems that our people are being faced with, and to later on make representation on their behalf. They didn't want that. They wanted that they would be able to, after the conference, say everything was rosy and everything was lovely, no problems, etc. But there are multiple problems out there. And this government, I am sure, they do not really want to solve those problems. So it will be upon our shoulders to ensure that those problems are solved. It will be on our shoulders to make sure that the Amerindian Act is revised. It will be on our shoulder to make sure that land titling is completed. It will be on our shoulder to make lives become the lives of the indigenous and the hinterland people and Guyanese as a whole become better. And we can do it regardless of all that they try to do to me. We will still be able to stand up and represent our people. And that is what we are here for.
Yep, yep, yep. You heard it, MP Vincent Henry. See, they want to be a distraction, right? He didn't want to bring bad name to the Apnu AFC. So after the police has scored him out, folks, he took his leave. But he said things started to get hot. The indigenous people started to speak their minds. How come we not seeing that televised? How come we only seeing Air Fanali? How come we only seeing Bar Jagno and what they're saying? What about what these indigenous leaders are saying? That's only lock and key. Tight, tight lock and key. Folks, if you think that is something, if you think that is something, you're gonna want to pick myself cup for chapel. You're gonna want to hear from the General Secretary of the Guyana Teachers Union. She's gonna be talking to us in just a little bit. You better share the live. You better smash that emoji button. Wicked, stink, dirty. That is the PPP for you good folks. Wicked, dirty. But we got to get to Coretta. And here's how we do. So let's get through some of these issues. And very shortly, I want to bring you that. I want to bring Coretta, you there, girl? General Secretary, are you there? Some of the things we're following around the world this evening, folks. Yeah, it's never an easy, never dull moment. Look what's happening here in the Congo. The Congo reports they've had, remember, just recently, 2 or 3 nights ago, we told you of this outbreak of what they call mpox now. It's monkeypox, right? They give it this kind of elegant name to kind of take some of the stigma away from it. Mpox. 1,000 new cases in a week. That's what the Congo is reporting. 1,000 new cases in a week. Them boys here dilly-dallying, chilly-shallying, wondering how they can handle this, wondering how they can handle that. Ever learning, never coming to the knowledge of the truth. Congo got their surveillance. See, they're picking up these cases here, right, and pushing back against the further spread of mpox. Pushing back against that. Good to have all of you on the live, folks. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We ain't in the 592 yet. We are not even in the 592 yet. Look at some other things we're following. This is interesting. Young lady visiting a court in the US of in Detroit. Right? She's on a school tour. She's visiting, she's visiting a court, and somehow in the courtroom, She fell asleep. Right? The case probably a little boring. She fell asleep. Well, who told her to do that? The judge reprimanded her severely. This is her mother here. Woke up with her hands in handcuffs. The judge made her to put on the jailhouse clothes for falling asleep in a court. For falling asleep in a court. You all think some people easy? They're not easy. They're not. This is Eva Goodman. There's a mother here, fired up and ready to go. Right? The mother filed, and she, herself and her mother rather, filed a lawsuit there in Detroit, Michigan. She fed up with them. You know, there's a certain kind of people that's meeting this kind of problem all the time. You know, y'all know what I'm talking about. I don't like to talk about race issue. Right? The judge is one Kenneth King. This is the U.S. District Court in Michigan, and alleges that Judge King violated the teen's civil rights by detaining her, yelling at her, and threatening her with jail time. Why? Can you take a little nap? June 1, he boring cases. That's what happening there. Pretty interesting. Around the Caribbean, folks, let's bring you from around the Caribbean. We're tracking some acrobats there. Y'all boy Ralph, and top of things there. Bringing entertainment and entertainers to show up. Is faltering support there. It's quite a number of things we're tracking around the region. Folks, we had Beryl. Right? What's the last hurricane we told you? Oh God, it's a male hurricane. Has a masculine is a strong hurricane. I live Beryl. With all the strength is female, imagine. Or is the male hurricanes this week? Right? But that being said, y'all help me. What's the last one? Not the one after Beryl that we were tracking. It says they're tracking 4 tropical waves. And right now, thanks to the National Hurricane Center, right, they're saying that we are nearing the peak of hurricane season. Thank you so much, Rastaman and Thomasina Ben Ernesto. So y'all sure? Some of y'all got to take the seat, you know, Bantu King. 1 and 2 nights when y'all boy tired. Y'all got to take this chair and do the work. Only come here for spectate. Thank you so much, guys. Ernesto, they're tracking 4. Right? Tip of the spear right now. Nearing the peak of the storm season. So they're watching these 4 tropical developments. One thing I got my bucket list. I gotta be in I got the studio and you know you're pointing. This front is moving in here and that is moving in there. We gotta do that, folks. So we're watching this 4 tropical waves. Them boys tracking. Y'all know we able. Who makes vex? Y'all know we able. Can we get to correct it now? Can we get to correct now, please? I think a little way more to go. A little way more. Sanctions. We coming closer now. We coming. We run by the airport side. We coming in. Sanctions. The Americans are telling us they're looming for Venezuelan officials. They're playing the bad over there. We coming in. They're playing the bad over the sanctions. They're telling us following that disputed July 28th presidential elections. Yep. Now this is what they're telling us, the American authorities. The U.S. says it as, hold on, bring me in. Landwin, what's the international airport there in Venezuela? Not too long there. U.S. says they have drafted a list with over 60 Venezuelans for possible sanctions over the elections. 60 of them playing there. Are you watching this? Watching this. And they've listed several institutions where they're drawn from. Right? This is Venezuelan government officials, family members. Are going to be targeted with this sanction. You name on the list. Officials include the Venezuelan National Electoral Council. So they're going with Claudette. The Supreme Court. Right? They got the counterintelligence police, who they say are all involved in political chaos there in Venezuela. So the Americans watching them, 60 persons are on a list. All right, we can keep you all. We'll keep you all up to speed with the latest developments on that, folks. At least we can try our best. At least we can try our best. Once we come in the 592, folks, you all know what's up. You know what's going down. Once we come in the 592, that's it, Right? That's like when I heard your fun on the live today. That was my reaction. Yeah. That was my reaction. See them boys run out. They say everything nice, everything dandy. An agreement has been reached between the GTU and the government of Guyana. Those are the broad strokes. Right? We're gonna unpack that in a few minutes for you. But first, on that supposed agreement, take a look, take a listen. We're gonna come to Coretta just now, but first, you all heard that? That's what leading in with. But first,
the Guyana Teachers Union and the government reached an agreement over wages and salaries for the period 2024 to 2026. According to reports, the agreement was reached today. The union had called a strike in February following the government's refusal to a package presented by the teachers. The issue reached the court, which ordered arbitration. That failed, and the teachers went back on strike. Today, President Irfan Ali took to the media to comment on the development.
I'm very pleased today that the Ministry of Education and the Guyana Teachers Union were able to reach an agreement on the way forward in relation to a 3-year agreement that was signed between the Guyana Teachers Union and the Ministry of Education. From the inception, I made it very clear that as a people, we needed to talk.
He said that he was pleased that all parties involved were able to conclude an agreement.
Over the next 3 years, teachers would see a direct increase of 27% to their salaries in this agreement. But that is not the totality of the increase. In 2024, they will receive a 10% increase. In 2025, they will see an 8% increase. And in 2026, they will see a 9% increase.
He said that there is an adjustable clause. If an announced increase to the public service is larger, the teachers will get the difference. The remote area incentive was $9,000. Given the agreement, the increase will now be 156%.
The monthly RAI moved from $9,000 to $23,000, which is an increase of 156%. This, of course, is important as we expand secondary education in the hinterland.
He said that this is necessary to attract more teachers to the hinterland where new schools are being built. There are also increases for degreed teachers. Increases in station allowances and hardline allowances would also be there. There are also increases in clothing allowance.
In this agreement, we have increased the number of concessions that will be granted by 50%. By 50%. In addition to the policy that all teachers who hold a substantive appointment as a senior master mistress or above within 3 years of retirement and have not received a previous duty-free concession are entitled to duty-free concession for one motor car up to $1,500.
There will be a 100% increase in scholarships to teachers annually.
Teachers or educators hired after retirement will be paid at their last salary scale before retirement. So looking at the complete package and all that we have given, you can see that our teachers will enjoy a welfare package. And that is why we said it's not only about salary increases, it's a welfare package that will bring tremendous improvement to their not only salaries, but their comprehensive package that they will receive.
Yep. That's some of what Irfan Ali said today as that announcement was made concerning that agreement the new deal that was reached between Dr. Mark Light of the Ghana Teachers Union and the ministry officials there. So that's lots of what Irfan said. Let's take a listen to some of what the release that the Ghana Teachers Union put out, some of what that release entailed. Take a look, take a listen.
The Guyana Teachers Union, by way of a press release, has stated that the union and the Ministry of Education have reached an agreement on salaries and non-salaries benefits for teachers covering the period 2024 to 2026. They stated that the agreement comes after months of talks between the two sides. The executives of the GTU are instructed by the General Council at a meeting on Friday, August 9, 2024, by a majority vote to accept the salary and non-salary package offered by the MOE, according to the GTU. This General Council instruction is binding according to Rule 13 of the Guyana Teachers Union Constitution. The package includes salary increases and a range of non-salary enhancements, such as allowances, duty-free concessions, housing, revolving funds, scholarships, clothing allowance, health coverage, hinterland and riverine benefits, opening up of new positions for teachers on the salary scale, and re-employment incentives, among others. These benefits, according to the GTU, aim to provide additional support for teachers, not only in their professional growth, but also in their personal and family lives. The GTU thanked members for their resilience, support, and commitment throughout the process, and stated that the decision reflects the members' wishes based on the instructions given to the executives. They stated that as they move forward, the GTU remains committed to advocating for the needs of their members and assures its members and the general public that they will continue to press their employer, the government, for additional member benefits.
Yeah. I love that these guys put this information like this together for us now. So I don't have to do all of the talking. I'm priming you for that discussion with the General Secretary of the Ghana Teachers Union. But we got to get through a couple of things more before we get there. We got to get through a couple of things. Before sharing the life, man, smash that emoji button for us. We are 2,200 plus persons on the live as we speak. Share the live. Smash that emoji button for us, folks. The Jagabats a little too excited here. You also hear fun brimming there. I'm a little worried about that. I'm a little worried about that, good folks. Very little worried. Let's get to some other things before we get to the General Secretary of the Ghana Teachers Union, Grenada, the Spice Island. They said they're coming for visit us. Hang on with the teachers. They pay the teachers very well. Some of our very teachers teaching at the schools in Grenada. The Grenada Tourism Authority, it says that they're planning a mission to Guyana. This is from the 27th to the 30th of August. The mission will strengthen bilateral relations and will foster new opportunities for trade, commerce, and tourism. Now, y'all can package this what we just played there. The mission will precede the launch of a direct flight route between Grenada and Guyana, starting from the 28th of September. Yep, looking forward to that. I've never been to the Spice Island. Right? They tell us about the route. Tell me about the price a little bit, man. They said they're going to explore in this mission to collaborate ventures in various sectors, including the distribution of goods and cement and spices and timber. Why are y'all on that? What happened to the ferry? The inter-island ferry. What happened to that? Looking forward to that as well. And we wait for your arrival, Grenadians. we waiting on y'all. I'm so lighthearted tonight. Lighthearted because you know why? The General Secretary of the Ghana Teachers Union is going to be coming by, folks. But first, I want to say congrats to the hardworking doctors at the Ghana, the Georgian Public Hospital Corporation, who work out in such intense circumstances with so little remuneration to look forward to. And they're telling us the first ever, what's this fancy word? Laparoscopic liver resection. This sounds like something important, right? The surgical. I almost said the surgical team is led by one. Is it Zhou Chang Young? Yeah. Congrats, GPH. You know when they do nonsense with the fuss? So look these folks here. Look these folks here, the GPHC. You got some nice things coming up. We don't mind ringing the bell at least once for good folks there at the GPHC and the hard-working folks, even harder-working folks in the PR department. Good evening to each and every one of you. You know you're watching us. You're always watching to see if we say something nice. When there are things that says nice things about, we will. A lot of times we will do the exact opposite. When it's deserving. First ever laparoscopic liver resection. Yep. That's what they're telling us. Congrats, GPHC, the entire team down there. Congrats. I said the procedure was performed on a 49-year-old female who has some cancer liver issues. Folks, the liver, they say, has metastasized. No, that means something important in medical science, right? And they're deeming this surgery here to have been a tremendous success. Right? They said it was the complete removal of the tumor that it aimed to remove. And again, big congrats to the folks there at the GPHC. And of course, so much for the good news. So much for the good news. So much for that. Yeah. It's always something, huh? It's Linden Highway today. My God. Slow down, the man. Slow down. An accident in the Linden Highway. We don't have too much details on this. Folks, on the photograph, I'm going to tell you about, this wasn't a fender bender. This bent up the whole front of the car. You said, car, listen, right off. Folks, what's the matter with us? What's the matter with us? We have more information on this. We're going to share with you. What we want to share with you is that we ought to slow down. Slow down, the man. Guyanese at home and abroad. So we can arrive alive. That's what we want to do. Arrive alive. We're coming down to the GS of the Ghan Teachers Union. Yeah, some people call this nice time. Nice time. Them boys consider the trials and tribulations in this country. Can't get sugar. I was about to say can't get proper sugar. Can't get sugar, period. We got another shortage in sugar. Every year. They got Russian sugar now. Eh? Sugar selling more expensive than gold. Black market sugar. 2 pounds of marijuana intercepted. Man seeing get money. Sugar going for barter for. Hey, sugar going to barter for. That's what Russ tell the eye. Sugar going to barter for 2 pounds. At least 2 pounds of marijuana. This was intercepted by from Javid Bash. Javid Bash. From Bartica. Police had an operation at a house in Bartica, suspected that criminal activities were being carried out there. They made a raid at this house in 7th Street, Bartica, Region 7, and made this fine 2 pounds. And the things tight in this country. Cost of living high, they want to go higher. Very narcotics. Yeah. Behave yourself. Can't do the time, don't do the crime. Wish them the best here. But look, story. And they'll jump in. And they'll always in some shit talk. He always in some old story talk. Now look, the lines of change pointed out that these latrines, right? We come past that. When we couldn't do better. We couldn't fix everything because we didn't have the money. We were busy setting up the framework for the oil to start pumping. So the coins could start rolling. And Guyanese people could finally get a bag. Right. Now this fella jump in. Why y'all didn't fix it? We're too busy cleaning up the mess y'all left after 20-something years. And we didn't have the money either. It's a mess for so. Why y'all didn't fix it? We can say such stupid, irresponsible, totish, foolery, confunction nonsense. This thing is outdated. We all understand we got up in an era You have to take where you get and wait for what you want. But we ain't ever get what we want. I told you all this. I want them cheering there. You get a fancy pipe, you just move your hand. Motion sensor. Move your hand. Water start coming. Not orange water. They give people here in Georgetown. Proper water. You see? You move over your hand next side. Breeze start to blow. You go a little further down the sink. Hot air rushing out at you. Shucks. We got him money now. He said, why y'all don't fix it? Why y'all don't fix it? We can fix it all out the government just now. Hold on. Call election date. We can fix them out. Our government. That being said, he depend it. Y'all let me depend it. Y'all tell me where Nandalal depend. Rowena is now y'all tell me depend. Y'all let me depend. Alson, it's now you to tell me piece of time what this man depend. Not left by myself tonight. He depend it. That's why I want to shake bash too. Look story. This problem should have never happened in the first place. The deterioration of the potable water in Georgetown. I know the folks in Dazzle Housing Scheme told me the same thing by them. Said the water look clear. When the water settle, when the crumb settles, it's orange at the bottom of whatever receptacle you put it in. Them boys said the water in GT is improving. They haven't drinking it, you know. They haven't cooking, they haven't bathing with it. They're rich enough, bashing them. They got filtration system, this artesian well water, the filtrate, all kind of thing like that fancy thing. They can buy tropical mist in the 5-gallon bottles they're made with. But the average citizen is so lucky in this fastest growing economy in the world on paper. The average citizen is not so lucky. They say it's improving. But you all know the whole thing. You all know the whole thing. Fact from fiction, truth from lie. And by what make a bread. They said the bridge to fixing. Felicity Embankment Road closure. My Lord. All year long, these bridge fixing. Ever learning, but never coming to the knowledge of the truth. West and eastbound traffic, they say, will be diverted north onto the Vrijslas Access Road and the Chateau Margaux School Road on the East Coast there. Yep, somebody gonna make a bread. Somebody gonna make a bread. Don't come wrong with it. We know the whole thing. Right? We know the whole thing. And this one project here, this one bridge fixing, the completion gonna delay but 4 times. And then more money got to invest it. Watch what I tell you. Right? Watch what I tell you. That is the blueprint today corruption. Delay the project 4 times, they change contractor 6 times, and then more money adding to it all of the time. That's what's happening here. That is the MO. Felicity Embankment. Gonna make a bread for somebody. Or somebody's. You're gonna make a bread. Moving on, folks. As you can see, I hasten to the GS. More the pestle than in the matter. Once we start talking about that, y'all look so we're dealing with. Them boy, I never get accustomed to this rooster. More the pistol. More the pistol than in the matter. And that is the story of the Guyana Teachers Union and the Ministry of Education, and by extension, the government of Guyana. Here, see how they run out, welcoming this new deal. Yeah, see how they flick out, they roll out, they swim out for this new deal. And it's the first time I hear teachers protest for more money. Government said, don't worry, more money, man. And people signing with them, no, you already more money. It's the non-monetary benefits. That's the important thing. Non-monetary benefits. That is the most important thing. Folks, today, I've sat down with the General Secretary of the Guyana Teachers Union, the one and only Coretta McDonald. I said, Coretta, what's happening here? What's happening here? Talk to me. I was in profession, for a couple of years. So I got an interest. I used to stay goal. I got kept in the system too. Right? Or at least coming into the system. It's one kid, the youngest. So I got an interest here. What's happening, Greta? I said, Greta, I want to do the whole thing. Not part of it. Why Irfan so happy? I saw the live with Irfan. Nothing concerned me a great lot. Why are you so happy? He ain't had time for me to jail, not one day. Why is so happy? General Secretary of the Ghana Teachers Union. That's why I asked Coretta, make it make sense for me. Coretta, make it make sense. Folks, take a look. Take a listen.
Madam General Secretary, thanks for joining us. We have been made to understand that an agreement has been signed with the government of Guyana and the Guyana Teachers Union. Give us a little backdrop to some of the events that led up to this signing of the agreement today.
Well, I don't know if I can give you a backdrop as to what led up to this disagreement today, because I am at a loss, just like everyone else, because there was no indication from any side or at any point that we were going to be signing an agreement today. Last week we met and we rejected the 10% that was offered officially at the table. I know there was some back arrangement, some back phone call, something, where 10% was offered. I questioned those outside of meetings calls, because these outside of meeting calls seem to be putting us in lots and lots of issues, creating lots of issues for us. And so I said, why is it, we sit at the table officially. Outside of the meeting is not official. So if calls are made, the calls should be made during the meetings. So there was this call that was made that we threw on the outside. But last Wednesday, when the offer was made at the table, GTU rejected that offer. I don't really know what happened today. What I know is that there was a general council meeting that was hurriedly called at 6 o'clock in the morning. A message was sent.
This morning?
No, not this morning, last week, Friday, 6 o'clock in the morning, a message was sent. And we know that according to our rules, and the rules is what everybody keep harping on, even Barajaglio is harping on the GTU's rules. And the rules indicate that meetings you're supposed to have 7 days notice for meetings. If it's an emergency meeting, then you must have a day or two notice for that meeting. And so with 6 o'clock in the morning and then for 10 o'clock meeting, quite a lot of our reps were not there. But let's fast forward. After our rejection last week, we were supposed to have met and to meet with our members to get from them whether they agreed to this downsliding thing. Because I know if you're going to negotiate up. But we had a downsliding thing here where you were going 8, 10, 8, 9. And before we had 7, 6 something, 7, 8, whatever it was. But this is not good math. And I know the government usually boasts about how good they are at math. And this math is not math thing. However, today we turned up there for the continuation of where we left off last week, only to recognize, coming to the end of the meeting, that there was a pre-meeting where the decisions were already made that today an agreement is going to be signed based on the trickery that passed at our General Council meeting, where the president there sat there and took General Council down a path that did not reflect what was actually being discussed at those meetings. There are still many, many issues coming out of our proposal that have not been directly addressed. And for the president to come there to cajole people, not even giving our General Council members the opportunity to touch base with the regular members in their branches, it's very unfortunate. I can say to you today is a sad day in the life of the GTU, in the lives of our teachers across this country. It is sad in the faces, and it's a slap in the faces of so many men and women who stood their ground for this union, which is over 153 years old. To have seen today, a day when we were supposed to be standing up for the members who we took oath to represent, that the union has been divided and the president took it upon himself to sign off or to sell out, let me say that, the teachers of this country. I feel very, very, very disappointed for my colleagues on the Essequibo Coast who stood out there for 75 days. The victimization that was meted out to quite a lot of our colleagues on the Essequibo Coast. And I'm focusing here on the Essequibo Coast because that's where most of the victimization took place. I am disappointed and saddened for our teachers in Kwakwani, in Regions 1, in Regions 9 and Regions 8. I know my brother from Region 7, from Barticle, representing Region 7. He was there championing the cause for the teachers there, Upper Mars, the teachers who live in those areas and have to be spending huge sums of monies. And here it is, you're taking 10% without even recognizing what inflation is and what 10% would mean in dollar figures to our teachers. When we look at what inflation is and you subtract that from 10%, you're actually getting 5.5%. How much is that in dollars to our teachers? And the majority of our teachers fall into the group where they will not receive anything much. I know there has been lots of talks out there where you have the Vice Barajagio coming out there to talk about duty-free concession, trying to deceive people like he would normally do into giving the impression that teachers all across the board are receiving duty-free concessions, which is not so. The housing revolving project, it will only be for a certain amount of teachers for a number of years because every teacher will not receive that. The only two conditions in that agreement that all teachers will benefit from across the board is the salaries and the clothing allowance. And even with the clothing allowance, our children were given $45,000 and teachers are being given $15,000. But you expect teachers to dress moderately and to dress like teachers. But here it is, you're giving them $15,000 to get themselves ready for school. We spoke about a risk allowance of $10,000 for a health risk allowance. And you know what the ministry did? The ministry said they cannot afford that $10,000 for teachers. But they can afford to have outreaches, health outreaches across the region. Now that wouldn't benefit teacher. That would be an outreach for everybody living in a community. So it doesn't speak to teachers, and we're not here speaking about other sectors of workers. We are the teachers' representatives, and we are speaking on behalf of the teachers. So today, Mark Light, Julian Cambridge, and a few others, they have sold the teachers of Guyana out. They have caused the teachers to be thrown under the bus where they're going to be crushed. Teachers, and it goes more than our teachers. It goes to our colleagues who would have retired because they were depending on us to charter a better way for them in terms of their livelihood. It is also, this will also impact on our staff at GTU. It means now that our staff will be placed on the breadline because if our teachers decide that they're not going to pay any more union dues, then we have to send those staff members home. 9 of them who have families, they have to go in search of a new job. And so Mark Light and Julian Cambridge, they were selfish. Those are the two persons who signed the agreement. They were being just selfish for whatever gains. So today again, we have seen the play out of another Charadas. And teachers across this country are crying. They are hurting. They're disappointed that this is where they have come to when they stood out there for 75 days.
GS, I know you had proffered a 25% increase in salaries for teachers. Did that have wide agreement in the union in terms among teachers?
Well, let me say to you, the union's proposal, after we would have consulted with our members, that's where we come up with that proposal, where we said it would be 39.5%, then 30%. So we were looking at two categories. Category 1, 39.5%, catered for the teachers who fell within the TS range, the TS scale 1 to 3, and that's where the majority of our teachers are. TS scale 4 to 19 and special, that catered for another group of teachers. And I think I'm hearing somebody talking about you'll be carrying home, you'll have $20,000. But the $20,000 you're talking about, or $27,000 on your salary, which would be retroactive, that is only for the higher group of teachers. The majority of our teachers fall into this lower bracket, and those were the ones that we were catering for. Now, for the ministry to come to tell us 10%, which we rejected. And then finally, not the union did not accept that. The president said he's president, and so he will accept that. And he got Julian Cambridge to sign with him. And I think our members, I know that there are lots and lots of touting at this time from our members, but that's a slap in the face of the members. We have not even come halfway in terms of that 39.5%. 10% was accepted. And the president was quite happy to sign that. Now, we continue to speak. Even at that point, officers were pleading with the president, look, let's not sign on. Let's hold for an hour or 2 hours. Let's return tomorrow. Let's talk amongst ourselves and come to a better position. But the president said at that point that he is leading the team, and so he will sign off. He's prepared to sign off at this point.
But based on some of what we were hearing, there was also a kind of understanding that this wasn't a signing meeting, as you've said, and that there was going to be a subsequent meeting even on Wednesday, I think a little later on too.
Well, today's meeting, we normally meet on either Wednesday or Thursday. Mm-hmm. So today we're supposed to meet, look at the minutes, and we iron out the issues that we've not ironed out coming through. That was not done. All that was done is Mark Light collected a package and another package, and he decided to sign off on an agreement, which we've never seen that happening. And so at this time, the president of the GTU, Mark Light and Julian Cambridge, they have created history not only in Guyana, but across the Caribbean. And this is totally unacceptable.
Let's talk for a second or two about the other president, because since the agreement has been signed, President Irfan Ali had put out a statement there. He was on a Facebook Live, and he seemed very, very ecstatic that this agreement was signed. It would give one the indication that these terms are favorable to the government, even if they aren't favorable to the teachers.
Well, this is what I'm saying, that what was signed here today does not benefit our teachers. As a matter of fact, when you saw President Ali there, it was not even a good minute or two. So President Ali knew exactly what was going to happen today. And so he was just there waiting. I mean, this is the same president who couldn't find time to meet with the very GTU. This was the same president who, while teachers were protesting in front of his office, he couldn't find time to talk with them, but he was ready there. He was prepared and ready to offer his words of whether it's congratulations on their side for this agreement that has been signed. And so it gives one the impression, and it allows one to conclude that this was already prepared. Because if you look at the document, the document did not even have the name of the General Secretary there. The document had there Julian Cambridge, Mark Light, Julian Cambridge. So, Charandas, we had a Charandas.
When we came in to see you today, you were talking with a number of teachers. Certainly by now you have a good sense of the sentiment of teachers on this agreement. What are the teachers thinking?
Well, teachers want to get rid of Mark Light with immediate effect. Mark Light and Julian Cambridge and all the other accomplices. Teachers want to have this special Congress, and they're finding out, how do we get this done? Teachers want to go, they're seeking out all the means possible. Can we not call the other unions to come and say something? Can we not get to the union, the Caribbean Union of Teachers? And all of these sentiments are what teachers are sharing, in addition to how disappointed they are. Teachers, I saw teachers here shedding tears because of being out there for 75 days, being, in some instances, the only teacher in their school to have struck. And this is what is befalling them. One teacher even went as far as to say, I will have to go out there and put up a Facebook post to say to my colleagues, when you collect that 10%, don't spend it, save it, because an appeal is coming our way. The judgment was appealed. So save it just in case that appeal goes in favor of the government, and your salaries are cut, that you have the 10% there to cushion it. And so these are all the thoughts that are being expressed from teachers. But today is a sad day, I can tell you, in the life of the GTU and in the life of our teachers across this country.
There was broad support for this protest action. You said 75 plus days, many more days of negotiation. I think Samuk News even said that they were surprised that the Essequibo had supported it so wholeheartedly, based on the fact that the Essequibo is where the PP draws its support from. They were very, very loud in their support for this protest action. I said that to ask the question, what does the public, or how should the public view these latest developments in terms of the division in the union? Because the union seemed very unified up until now.
Well, what I can say to you, Sherrod, is that pretense was the instrument, pretense was the word, pretense was the costume of the day. And we've seen this because we were going all the time as if we were united. And then all of a sudden, you saw the real deal. And so, as is, the union is divided, and our members out there are not pleased with what has transpired today. If you were to have an opportunity to look at the groups that we have, you will see the teachers on the Essequibo Coast voicing their displeasure. You are going to see the teachers from Bartica, the teachers from Maruka, the teachers from Mabaruma, the teachers from Port Kaituma, the teachers from Lethem, the teachers from all over voicing their concerns in those groups, and they are very, very angry with what has transpired.
Thank you very much, Madam General Secretary.
You're so welcome.
Yep. That was the General Secretary of the Guyana Teachers, Coretta McDonald, talking with us today, reacting to that agreement that was signed between Dr. Mark Light and the government of Guyana, the Ministry of Education. And as I said, when I got in there to talk with the General Secretary of the Guyana Teachers Union, there were several teachers there speaking with her as well. And I managed to talk to a couple of them. And I know we're out of program time, but I'll tell you this. I spoke with those teachers, and at least one of them said to me, she said, very eerily, she said, this feels like August 2020 all over again. Right? She said first, this feels like 2020 all over again. And then she came in a little close and she said, August 2020. This feels like that all over again. I say no more. I have nothing to add to what the General Secretary has said, and certainly nothing to subtract from it. That being said, folks, share the live, smash that emoji. Yep. Once you hit the 592, we did tell you. Once you hit the 592, it's been a privilege being here with you guys this evening. Share the live, smash that emoji button as well, and help to keep you all boy off the streets. Partner with us so we can keep on keeping on with these very programs here. That being said, folks, that's our time. And that's our program. Stay safe out there. Share the live, folks. Yep. There's somebody saying there, we got to vote this government out. Wicked, stink, dirty. Have a good night. Stay safe.